This conference will now be recorded.
I welcome again on the day 4, session 2nd, which is session 10 actually, to all the participants. And the speaker of today session is Dr. Purnima K. Sharma. She is an associate professor in the Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering, SVEC, Andhra Pradesh. She'll be talking about performance analysis of non-orthogonal multiple axis over orthogonal multiple axis. So now I request our student Ashi to formally welcome ma'am.
Morning, everyone. About Dr. Purnima Sharma. She graduated in 2007 and received her M.Tech 2009 in Communication and Signal Processing from ENU Andhra Pradesh. She defended her PhD in the field of wireless communication engineering from U2U, Dehradun in 2015 under the guidance of Professor R.K. Singh. She has been actively involved in research since 2009 and a major research area is wireless communication and antenna design. Dr. Purnima Sharma published many quality papers in wireless communication and antenna design. Presently, she is serving as Associate Professor in SVEC College, SVEC, Andhra Pradesh, India. Young Women in Engineering 2018 award has been bestowed to Dr. Purnima Sharma for her contribution, research excellence, and accomplishments in the area of electronics and communication. Today, she'll be talking about performance analysis of non-orthogonal multiple axis over orthogonal multiple axis. We welcome you, ma'am. Over to you.
Welcome, ma'am. Ma'am, you are on mute.
Now, is it okay, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am, it's okay.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Ashi, for your kind introduction. Good morning to one and all. First of all, I would like to thank head of the institute, head of the department, and event coordinators, Dr. Shilpa Jindal and Dr. Dinesh Sharma, CCET, Chandigarh, for their kind invitation to this AICT sponsored ATL FDP on high-speed wireless and optical technologies for developing global network. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Now, my topic of discussion is performance analysis of non-orthogonal multiple axis over orthogonal multiple axis. In this session, before starting my presentation, in this session, we are going to talk about very new technology. We are going to use for the purpose of multiple axis technique for 5th generation of cellular. And this is non-orthogonal multiple axis. I think some of you might be heard about this multiple axis technique, but for most of the people, it is a newer multiple axis technique. Now let us understand where is the variation between OMA and NOMA. In short form, we can take this as orthogonal multiple axis technique as OMA and non-orthogonal multiple axis as NOMA, N-O-M-A, NOMA. This is my, I'll start my presentation here. Minute. 1 minute.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm checking, ma'am. 1 minute.
Okay.
Now is it visible, ma'am? Are you able to see my screen?
No, ma'am, I cannot see your screen.
I don't know why it's sharing it to me.
Ma'am, I have made you presenter. You're already a presenter.
Okay. But I'm not getting.
Ma'am, just see on the screen, there is a mic, camera, and share screen tab.
I'm sharing, ma'am. 1 minute.
Let me make somebody else a presenter. After that, I'll do it again. Maybe there's some problem, ma'am. Give me a
I don't
minute.
know why. Actually, used many times photo meeting, but I don't know now. I don't
Just
know
a
why.
minute, ma'am.
Just see, ma'am.
Now see, ma'am, I have made again you the presenter. Check if you can present
I'm
right now.
checking, ma'am.
आई थी स्क्रीन हाँ अभी आई मैम आपकी एक बार स्क्रीन आ चुकी है we received
Okay.
your
I'm
screen
checking,
but
ma'am.
now
That
it is not showing again. Ma'am, we have your slides. We can also, run those slides if you allow, if there's a problem with you.
I'm checking that one.
Take your time, ma'am. Otherwise, we will present from here.
Actually, MATLAB implementation is also there. If it is the case, then it's very difficult. I'll join with the web browser, ma'am. In 2 minutes, I'll join with the web browser. Is it okay?
Okay, ma'am. Okay, we are waiting, ma'am.
In 2 minutes, I'll join with the web browser.
Okay, ma'am.
Is it possible to join again? Then it will work sometimes. It will happen like this. Shilpa ma'am?
Hanji, sir.
Sometimes it happens. It's advised to rejoin again.
Okay.
Our expert is currently facing some technical issue. She'll be joining back in 5 minutes and we'll then start the session. I request you all to be patient. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am, I have made you presenter now. Please check. Ma'am, you are muted.
Now I'm sharing my screen, ma'am. Just check it out. I
Anji, ma'am,
think
now
now
it's coming.
it is coming. Okay.
Yes, ma'am,
I
it's
don't know
visible
why
now.
it happened. Sorry for the delay. Actually, the problem is with the app, I think. Okay. See?
Now, ma'am, you have joined from web browser?
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay.
Okay. Um, Already we are getting late. So I'll start my presentation. This is my presentation flow. I'll start with the sorry. I'll start with the background of multiple access techniques, motivation behind NOMA, followed by OMA versus NOMA, different NOMA schemes, advantages and disadvantages of NOMA. Later on, we'll see the downlink NOMA implementation using MATLAB, NOMA simulator, and research challenges you can take up for your research, further research. In the history of cellular communication, if you consider the different generation, then we can summarize like this. I think all of you know about these generations, so I'll take a brief review of these generations, different generations. Then we can summarize like this from first generation to fourth generation. Now we are at fifth generation, I think almost reached. In between also many multiple access techniques came into picture. See, when you really talk about multiple access techniques used so far, you know, FDMA, TDMA, CDMA, or these are the combination of these, OFDMA, and now it is NOMA. We know the transition between one generation to another generation is very slow. That means a smooth transition in between one generation to another generation. It is not an abrupt transition. We know in between 2G and 3G there exists 2.5 generation and 2.75 generation also. In first generation cellular, FDMA scheme was used for communication. In this, each user is allocated. Each user is allocated with a unique frequency band for communication. Each user is allocated with unique frequency band for the communication. Whereas in 2G, we used the technique TDMA. Here, user is allocated a time slot cyclically, individual time slot cyclically for the communication purpose. In 3G, CDMA technique used in which each user is separated by a code for communication. We know we are very familiar with these multiple access techniques. Then OFDMA came into picture to overcome some problems in the FDMA, TDMA and CDMA. We'll take that one by one in my coming slides. OFDMA is introduced in 4G. In 5G, as per the researchers, the powerful multiple access technique to accommodate 5G requirements is NOMA, non-orthogonal multiple access techniques. These four techniques, FDMA, TDMA, CDMA and OFDMA are orthogonal multiple access technique because here different users are allocated to orthogonal resources in either the time, frequency or in code domain or the combination of these. Multiple users can access the same resource block at the same time and frequency in the case of NOMA, but the difference is power domain multiple access we'll use here in NOMA. We are not using the traditional orthogonal multiple access technique here. Now we'll see the limitations of OMA here. Before going for the limitations of orthogonal multiple access technique, I'll first tell you the advantage of orthogonal multiple access technique over non-orthogonal multiple access technique. Here in OMA, we know different users are allocated with orthogonal resources. Here the orthogonal resources are frequency, individual frequency bands. That means the resource block is frequency or in either time or code domain in order to avoid the inter-user interference, because each individual user is provided with a resource block, separate unique resource block. So to avoid the inter-user interference. That means automatically in orthogonal multiple access technique is going to take care about interference management from one resource block to another resource management technique in these orthogonal multiple access techniques. Okay. See, this is a very basic thing we know about the technique, orthogonal multiple access technique. Now let us see the limitations of OMA. That is limited number of users. Limited number of users. That means if you are taking the case of FDMA, n number of users only can utilize. If the band, let us take the example, 100 megahertz bandwidth is there in FDMA, each user is allocated with 10 megahertz. Each user is allocated with 10 megahertz. That means only 10 users can use that bandwidth. N number of users. Let us take the n number of users. N number of users only can utilize the resource block. At a particular point of time, if 11th user, that means n plus 1 user is going to come in the system, then the request will be denied for providing the service, because a particular system is using orthogonal multiple access technique is only designed for n number of users. But theoretically, non-orthogonal multiple access technique, that is NOMA, is challenging. There is no limitation in number of users. That is the main limitation of orthogonal multiple access technique. But NOMA is challenging. There is no limitation in number of users. Next three, that is delay spread due to multipath components, frequency selective fading, inter-channel interference are the limitations of FDMA, TDMA and CDMA. These things we know. To overcome these problems, we introduced the technique orthogonal frequency division multiple access technique. But by using OFDMA, spectral efficiency is improved. Spectral efficiency is improved, but the limitation of OFDMA is the spectrum overflow. The limitation of OFDMA is, it is, even though it is overcoming the problems in the FDMA, TDMA and CDMA, but the problem with the OFDMA is spectrum overflow, because it needs additional Gauge bands. Okay. Because of need in Gauge bands, and all users should strictly time synchronize in the uplink. These are the two limitations in OFDMA. That's why we are preferring now in 5G, we are preferring NOMA. That is the motivation behind NOMA. First, we'll see the major challenges in 5G. What are the major challenges in 5G? The increasing demand of mobile internet and IoT, Internet of Things, poses a challenging requirements for 5G wireless. That means the major challenges in 5G are spectral efficiency and massive connectivity. What is spectral efficiency? How to accommodate more number of users with limited spectrum? The spectrum is fixed, but we want to accommodate more number of users with limited spectrum. We want to accommodate more number of users with this limited spectrum, because we are nowadays the things are Internet of Things. We are using, that means machine to machine communication. That means more devices are connected with the internet nowadays. That means spectral efficiency is the major challenge in 5G. We have to accommodate more number of users with limited spectrum. We already saw the OMA. In OMA, the thing is it is fixed only for the n number of users. If n plus 1 user came into the picture in the system, then the system will deny to give the service. That's why NOMA can address these challenges, because NOMA is challenging that it will provide there is no limitation on number of users in NOMA, theoretically. Okay, massive connectivity. Obvious, we are using IoT nowadays. Not IoT, it is Internet of everything. Connecting devices, everything is connected with internet. So massive connectivity is a major challenge in 5G. So NOMA is again the solution for the problem, or we can say the to overcome the challenge in 5G. Here I'll tell you a famous example to understand NOMA. See here. See, this is a general example to explain the NOMA scenario. Nowadays, we can see in metropolitan cities, as population density increases, common people cannot afford to live in an individual house. Okay, rather they prefer a flat in an apartment. Floor height decides the level. Just like that, in NOMA, the users use same frequency and time slot but at different power level. See, here 3 individual houses are there. Okay, just take the example of FDMA. Here we have some 30 kilohertz of bandwidth. 10 kilohertz is given to each user. Okay, in FDMA. Or you can take 100 square feet for one user, 100 square feet for one user, 100 square feet for one user. That means total we have 300 square feet. Okay, that is the case in the FDMA. But in NOMA, it is the same 300 square feet, but it is accommodating more number of users. But the floor level is different. Here, see, let us take the FDMA total bandwidth, consider it as total area is given to 3 individual users. They are using their house without any others interference. Okay, but here you see some 100 individual flats, that is the same area is given to 100 users here in the apartment at different floors. Here interference is there. That means proper interference management should be there in NOMA. Okay, are you getting my point? Here in FDMA, individual user is providing individual resource blocks. But whereas in NOMA, same resource block is used by number of users. Okay, here interference is there. Consider the traffic increment day by day. There will be a performance degradation in this, because there will be always some pros and cons of staying in a villa or individual house or staying in an apartment. We know this. Okay, that means NOMA is like an apartment, but OMA is like we are allocating the individual resource blocks to the individual user. That means users are staying in their individual houses. Okay, that is the main difference between orthogonal multiple access technique and non-orthogonal multiple access technique. There will be always some pros and cons of staying in an individual house or staying in an apartment. We know that. Here no interference, but here in NOMA. You better understood NOMA. Now we'll see the non-orthogonal multiple access technique. Different user signals are multiplexed using different power levels. High spectral efficiency, which enables massive connectivity, because here there is no limitation on number of users, so we can connect the number of equipment. There is no limit on number of users. Massive connectivity is possible in non-orthogonal multiple access. At the receiver side, successive interference cancellation is applied for decoding the signals one by one until the desired user signal is obtained. We already discussed the advantage. What is the advantage of OMA? That is, no special interference management system is needed in OMA. Whereas in NOMA, it is needed, because interference will come in NOMA because same resource block is used by number of users. Many number of users are using same resource block. use what we use here, common electricity, common water facility, common common playground, or common in apartment. That means there is a interference in between users in NOMA. That means in NOMA we require a special technique to control the interference. Interference management technique should be used at the receiver side to avoid the interference, to minimize the interference. That is the main disadvantage of NOMA. If you lot of research is going on this. At present, we'll see the successive interference cancellation method to avoid some interference. We'll see that in coming slides. NOMA is compatible with existing wireless systems also, where it can be blended with TDMA and OFDMA. That means in NOMA, same resource block is given to number of users. Here, we can blend these existing OMA techniques with NOMA. That means we can improve the spectral efficiency if you blend the TDMA and OFDMA with NOMA. Okay. Now here we'll discuss two different schemes of NOMA. Many more NOMA schemes are there, but here we'll discuss the power domain NOMA and cooperative domain NOMA. Generally, the NOMAs, if you say it is a NOMA, it is generally people consider it is a power domain NOMA, but other techniques also, other NOMA techniques also there. Here we'll discuss one more technique, that is cooperative domain NOMA. This is the NOMA downlink. Here see, now we'll see from this figure how the NOMA technique can be used at downlink. Okay, here this figure presents a simple NOMA system consisting of a single base station. You can see here, this is a single base station to user N. User M is a user M is a sorry, this is user M. So this is okay. This is the user N. User M. User M is the far user. You can see the distance between the base station and user M is more, whereas the distance between the user N and the base station is near user. We can call this user M as the far user and user N as the near user. Okay, where user M is a far user and user N is a near user, you can see the scenario, that is user M and user N uses the same resource block. You can see here, same resource block, either in time or frequency, same resource block is using. The user M and user N are using the same resource block. But what is the difference? Where is the difference? The difference in power level. You can observe user N power level is low, whereas user M power level is more. M is the far user, so more power level. User N is the near user, so less power level. Okay. Here let us consider the resource block is frequency band. So user M and user N uses the same frequency channel for communication. We are allocating two different power levels, that is more power to the far user and less power to the near user, so that the total transmitted power from base station is divided and it will be allocated to higher power to the far user and less power to the near user. If the transmitted power is 1 unit, let us take the transmitted power from the base station is 1 unit. Let us take an example that 90% for the far user and 10% for the near user. Here only we are considering only the case of 2 users. I'll show you the case of n number of users also. To better understand the NOMA, here I am taking only 2 users. One is one I am considering as far user, and another one I am considering as near user. Okay, 90 now M is the far user and N is the near user. 90% of the far use 90% of the power is given to the far user and 10% power is given to the near user, or it can be any fraction, depends on the distance between the base station and the mobile station, or base station and the user. Generally here I'm just taking an example, that is 90% I'm giving to the far user. Generally it depends upon the it is any fraction, depends on the distance between the base station and mobile station. Okay, from base station both the user signals are transmitted at same time from base station. Both the user signals to user M and user M are transmitted at the same time. So these two signals will be superimposed and it will be sent to the both the users. These two signals, whatever we are sending from the base station, first the signals are superimposed at the base station and it will be sent. Same signal is sent to the user M and user M. Okay, here we'll use the superimposed coding or superposition coding we'll use to superimpose the signal. That means same signal is transmitted from the base station to the user M and user N. Okay, user M is the far user. Here we'll use some noise cancellation techniques to remove low power signals and it will receive the strongest power signal, power level signal. That is user M data will be received directly. See, same signal is received by user M and user N. User M data, whatever the signal to be received at the user M, in that more power level is given to the user M signal, low power level is given to the user N signal. We know that. Initially we discussed that. Okay, that means at user M what will receive? 90% of the signal of user M, 90% of the signal of user M plus 10% of the user N signal. Okay, if you are using proper noise cancellation technique at user M, if you are using proper noise cancellation technique at user M, that means 90% of user M data is there. Now we are decoding at user M. That means at user M what we received? 90% of user M data and 10% of user N data. Here at user M what we received? 90% of user M data and 10% of user N data. That means at user M, if you use a proper noise cancellation technique, that means most of the power is given to the user M data. We can remove the remaining part, 10% of user M data as noise. If you remove that portion, then we can easily detect the user M signal at user M. Okay, are you getting my point? If you have any queries here, this is the basic for the NOMA. If you have any queries, you can ask me now. Otherwise, I'll continue with my lecture. Are you getting here? Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Hello.
At user M, 90% of user M data and 10% of user N data we are getting. Okay, so user M is easily identify its own signal by using proper noise cancellation technique, by considering the 10% remaining data as noise. Okay, so it can easily identify its own signal because 90% of the power is given here. But the problem arises at user N. Okay, user M is the far user. Here we'll use some noise cancellation techniques to remove low power signals and it will receive the strongest power signal and it will receive the strongest power level signals. That is user M data will be received normally. But the problem is with user N. What will receive at user N? At user N also will receive the 90% of user M data and 10% of user N data. Here user M data is at low power level and user M data at high power level. That is, interference signal is at more power level because interference signal is user M signal. Here we are receiving 90% of user M signal. So first it recognizes the user M signal and it will be subtracted from superimposed signal. Are you getting? The problem is here with user M is, here we are receiving 90% of the user M data and 10% of user N data. So first it will detect the user M. It is easy to detect the user M. Then because 90% the user M data is at 90% of power level, so it will detect easily the user M data. Then already composite signal is there, that is a superimposed signal is there. From that superimposed signal will remove, or we can detect the subtract user M signal, then we'll get the user M detection. Okay, this is a simple concept. We are sending the same signal from base station to all the users. That means what type of signal we are sending from base station? We are sending the superimposed signal. Okay, multiplexed or superimposed signal, or we can say multiplexed signal to user M and user N. Okay. Okay, see here, data transmitted is S is equal to root PT alpha root alpha S1 plus root of 1 minus alpha S2, because here alpha is the power allocation factor. If you are going for the third user, then we will use another technique to do the fraction, whereas alpha plus 1 minus alpha, the value should be 1. Okay, because the total power transmitted from the base station is PT, the fraction of power is allocated to S1 and the fraction of power is allocated to S2. Here we took the alpha as 0.9 90%, that means 0.9 here. What about 1 minus alpha? This is 0.1 factor of PT will take. Okay, this is the data transmitted from the signal, where alpha is the power allocation factor, PD is the total transmitted power. If you are sending this signal, then received signal at the users are yi is equal to HIS into Ni, where Hi is the, we know Hi is the channel coefficient. From this channel coefficient only the individual user will identify its own signal. Okay, Ni is the noise during the channel noise. Okay, this is the normal downlink. What we are doing at downlink, that means at user 1, here it is the superimposed signal. What is the transmitting from the base station? Here you can observe S1 and S2 the user data. User 1 data is S1, user 2 data is S2. If user 1 is the far user, then we'll allocate alpha as 0.9. If S2, if we are considering the user 2 as the near user, then we'll take it as 0.1. Okay, this is the transmitted signal, that is superimposed signal from the transmitter. What we are doing at the user 1, that means for user M we took here. This is the user M is the far user, directly decode its own signal. See, the decoding is at far user, the received signal is y1 is equal to h1s plus n1. Is the far user, the channel coefficient is the channel in between the base station and the far user is h1. So y1 is equal to h1s plus n1. Here we'll use a equalization technique, that is zero forcing equalization. That means we can multiply with h1 inverse. Then y1 equalization is, anyway noise is there, y1 equalization is h1 inverse y1. We know that this is a famous equalization technique, zero forcing. So from this we can calculate the equalized value of y1. then we can directly decode S1 signal. We can estimate the S1 signal directly because 90% of the far user data is there at user 1. Now we'll see the scenario at user 2. What is the scenario at user 2? Here we are getting the superimposed signal, but here 90% of the noise and 10% of the 90% of unwanted signal and 10% of the wanted signal is there. Here also we'll use the same technique because we know what we are doing first here. Here first we are decoding the noise, then we are subtracting whatever unwanted to us first decoded, then it will be subtracted from the superimposed signal. See here. Okay, that means we are what we decoded here. We decoded the user M data first. Then, sorry, one more step here it was missed. But what we have to do is here we have to subtract the S12 from S. If you subtract directly this S12 from S, then we'll decode. We can get the user 2 data, near user 2 data. First we'll decode the unwanted signal. The decoded signal will be subtracted from the composed signal. Okay, this is the algorithm we can use to implement NOMA. I'll show you with the MATLAB implementation after completing the uplink. Now see the uplink. This is the uplink. Initially we discussed the downlink, NOMA downlink. Now we will discuss NOMA uplink. The received signal at the base station is this now. This is the scenario of uplink NOMA. Two users are transmitting at the same time to the base station. User M is the far user and user N is the near user. Here we can see in downlink NOMA, we are in downlink NOMA what we are doing? We are allocating two power levels, but here both users are transmitting the same power to the base station. But at base station, it is received as low power level from far user and higher power from the near user. Obvious scenario, near user is sending the data. The distance between the base station and the near user is very low. So obviously the signal from the user N is with the more power level and user M is the far user. So the distance between the base station and user M is more. So the signal from the user M is at the low power level. No need to use a proper mechanism to allocate the powers here because the user N is near user. So if it is sending the data, this power level, high power level only received by the base station, where user M is the far user. So low power level signal will be received by the base station. Okay, base station it is received as low power level from the far user and higher power level from the near user. Power allocation, proper power allocation is not needed at uplink, whereas in downlink the base station itself is giving the power allocation to the user M and user N. Okay, now at base station SIC, successive interference cancellation method is used. Okay, and decode the high power level user N. Whereas in downlink we directly decoded the user M signal. At user M we decoded directly user M data. Here also same process is used because user N is at high power level, so it can directly decode the user N detection. Okay, you can detect the user N data directly, but at user M data, how we can use? Same as uplink. For the near user, how we use? From the composite signal, the subtraction user N signal, then we can decode the user M. Okay, This is the uplink. The same thing here at base station user 2 data is recorded first. Y is equal to, this is the composite signal H1 root PTS1 plus H2 root PTS2 plus N. Okay, equalization. How we can do the equalization? Proper noise cancellation technique we can use. This is here also equalization is zero forcing. So Y2 equalization will get as H2 inverse Y. So S2 is equal to decode Y2 equalization. Now I'll implement this with MATLAB so that you can better understand. See, this is the case. No uplink at base station user 1 data is recovered. Second, first user 2 data because it is a near user for the base station. Okay. Now user 1 data is recovered. First it will decode the user n data, then it will subtract it from the user composite signal, then we'll get the user 1 signal, that is the far user data here will receive. Okay, now we'll see the MATLAB implementation of downlink. If time permits, I'll show you the uplink also. Is my MATLAB screen is visible?
Yes, yes.
It's visible.
Please respond. Is my MATLAB screen is visible to all of you?
Yes,
Please?
madam, it is visible. Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes,
thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Now we'll see a simple thing. Simple downlink implementation I'll show you. First we have to consider the number of symbols. I'll show you. Nsim. I'm taking nsim is equal to some 1000. I'll take it as 1000 because it is easy to run the MATLAB program. If I'll take the more symbols, then it will take some time. Okay, I'm taking the DF, that means far user distance. I'm taking 1 kilometer. Okay, near user I'm taking DN as 500 or 200. I'll take. Okay, this is the distance between the base station and the user. Here I am considering only stationary case. Okay, I am taking the stationary case. If I'll take the moving user, then I have to consider the Doppler shift also. Okay, now I'll take the alpha. What is alpha? Power allocation factor. I am taking it as 0.8. Okay, then I have to consider I have to consider the path loss exponent also, because there is a lot of research is there behind the path loss exponent. I think all of you know about it. Here I am taking a path loss exponent of 3. Depending upon the area, we can decide this path loss exponent. Here I am taking simple eta as 3. Now I'll show you once again. I'll show you the my implementation algorithm. I'll show you. Just see. First, what we have to do is See, define the number of symbols. NSYM, distance of the nearest equation factor alpha. We already defined. Now what we have to do? Generate channel coefficients. H1 for far user and H2 near user. Generate channel coefficient. How to generate? If we are considering the fading channel, some fading channel, additive white Gaussian or Rayleigh fading channel, generally in between base station and user, it is not a line of sight path. So we have to consider the Rayleigh fading channel. How to define the directly? Directly you can go for the communication toolbox, or you can define like this. I'll directly type the Rayleigh. Okay. What we have to consider, depending upon the distance also it will vary, so I'll consider the distance also here. Or I'll take it as BFU so that it will be easy for me. Okay. One more thing I have to consider is obviously by square root is the Rayleigh fading channel coefficient H1. Same thing will define for the, sorry, I think my screen is not visible in my MATLAB window. I'll switch that. Now I think it is visible to all of you.
Yes, now ma'am, it's visible.
This is H1. Here I'm defining the Rayleigh fading channel coefficients. The same thing for I'm taking for H2 also. But the difference in distance, okay, the remaining things are same. You can observe here H1 here I took the distance as DFU because the coefficient, the channel coefficient will vary according to the distance also. Here I am considering it as DFU, and H2 I am considering near user, the distance between base station and the near user. Now I am taking the transmitted power. I am considering it as 40 dBm. Okay, but here we have to consider it as in a linear scale. So what we can do here, dBm, so 1 by 1000 we have to consider that also. See, 10 to the power of pt dBm divided by 10 to pt is equal to 10 to the power of minus 3. Okay, this is the pt. Now we define the transmitted power and the channel coefficients also. Now what we have to define? We have to define the noise power. Noise power. How to get the noise power? We know the noise power is 10 log kTB. This we know. Noise power. How to define? Here we are considering the thermal noise. So I am taking 10 log 10 kTB, where K is the Boltzmann constant, T is the temperature, B is the bandwidth. Okay. In MATLAB, to define the Boltzmann constant, directly Boltzmann constant is there in MATLAB. So I am writing it as physical constant Boltzmann. Okay. I am taking T as 290 or 300. We can take Accordingly, B is equal to, I am taking it as 1 megahertz. Okay, this is the bandwidth. Now noise power also defined. Noise also we want in linear scale. The same thing. Scale, I am converting it as a linear scale. Okay. Okay. Now what we want? We want separate noises for H1 and H2, N1 and N2. Noise coefficients, noise also, separate noise coefficients we need. So I'm writing like this. Here N0 I am considering for N1 and N2. This is N2. Okay. Noise coefficients also defined, N1 and N2 both are same. Okay, I'm taking the random, so I'll get the different values here. If you want, you can check. We define the transmitted power, we define the noise power. Now what we have to define? We have to define the data, binary data. Here I am considering for the ease, I am considering the BPSK because only 2 signals we can send. It depends on the NSIM because already defined the NSIM. So data I am taking as data 1. Randy command I am using here. For data 2 also, user 2 data also, I am taking the same thing. Data 2, data 2. Okay. If I can data 1 defined, data 2 is defined. It is a binary data we know because Randy we are taking, Randi we are taking in between 0, 1. How many times? It depends on NSIM. We already defined NSIM, that is 1000 users, 1000 symbols, sorry, 1000 symbols. If you consider the BPSK modulation, then S1, I can define it as 2 data 1 minus 1. Okay, this is the S1 data for the user 1. Now S2. S2 I have to take. Now it is 2 into data 2 minus 1. Okay, this is the BPSK modulation. Now what we have to do? Superimposition. See, superimposition coding, superposed coding. We have to mix the 2 signals based on, I'll show you that once again. I'll show you the thing. See, the superimposed signal, composite signal. We are here, what we are doing? We are mixing S1 and S2. Here we are mixing S1 and S2 using the different power levels. This is the equation we want. Please remember this. S is equal to root PT into root alpha S1 plus root of 1 minus alpha S2, where alpha is the power allocation factor. We already defined that 0.8 and 0.2. That means 80% power and 20% power. Okay. So we have to go for that. S1, S2 we defined. Now superimposed signal. Same thing, whatever we mentioned in the PPT, same thing here. See, square root of pt, square root of alpha into S1 plus square root of 1 minus alpha. Now we are taking alpha as 0.8, so 1 minus alpha will get 0.2. Okay, that is S. Okay, now it is the superimposed signal at the base station. Now what the base station will do? What base station will do? Base station will directly transmit this superimposed signal to user 1 and user 2. That means at user 1, first step is at user 1, what we'll receive? We'll receive y is equal to h1s plus n1 will receive. Okay, we'll receive at the user 1. What will do? User 1 will do? User 1 will do the proper equalization technique, that is zero forcing we are using here. So I'm simply writing the at user 1, y1 is equal to h1 dot into s plus n1. If it is the OMA case, then instead of s, simply s1 will keep. Okay, now it is NOMA, that's why S, superimposed signal. We are keeping the superimposed signal. Okay, directly decoding is possible here. So here I am decoding. See, the y1 equalization is over. Now we have to decode the S1 signal. See, first I am defining S1 hat initialization. I am doing zeros 1 comma n sim. Then I am defining here S1 hat y1 equalization. If is greater than 0, take it as 1, because here after S1 S2 I'll get plus 1 and minus 1. Here what I'll get? Plus 1 and minus 1. If data 1 is 0, I'll get 1. If data 1 is 1, I'll get minus 1. 0, then I'll get minus 1. If it is 1, I'll get plus 1. If I'm sending the data in terms of zeros and ones, so I'm keeping here S1 hat is 1. If y1 equalization, the condition I am keeping here is y1 equalization is greater than 0, then I am keeping is equal to 1. Okay. Then what is the bit error rate? We'll see the bit error rate also. There is a direct command in MATLAB, that is bit error, bit error. This is the command to calculate the bit error rate. Where we have to calculate this bit error rate? In between data 1 and S1 hat. Okay. So this is the bit error rate command. If you see the bit error rate, I'll show you. Just try run up to here. Okay, save. Okay, something happened here. Let's see. 1 minute, please. I'll check it out. User 1. Alpha we took. 2. Something happened. I am checking. Check for 1 minute. Alpha we not defined, I think. Alpha we defined or not? 1 minute, please. Alpha already there, so I'll take a different term. alpha. Now see, the bit error rate is 0. I'm considering only single transmitted data. At power level, I'm considering as 40 dBm. So what I got, bit error rate from the user 1 is 0. This is at user 1. Now we'll see the case of user 2. User 2, we can directly decode the data at user 1, but the problem is at user 2. We know that. At user 2, the same thing will be considered. That is, first we'll decode the for user data because it is at high power level. So I'm considering the user 2. See, y1 is equal to h1 star s plus n1. Here at user 2, what is y2? Y2 is h2 star y2 h2 star s into s plus n2. Okay. Here also we have to do the equalization. Equalization. Y2 equalization. So here we have to consider the coefficient h2. One minute please. Here at user 2, what we'll do first? First directly decode the directly we'll decode, then we'll subtract. First we'll decode, then we'll use the successive interference cancellation. Here decoding is same as before. User 1, y2 equalization is greater than 0, then it is 1. Okay. Now we have to apply the SIC. What is SIC? We have to subtract this data from composite signal. From the composite signal. See. Here S12 hat is equal to 2 into, again we are converting it as BPSK, that is plus 1 and minus 1. Here what we are getting, S12 hat y2 equalization greater than 0 is equal to 1. That means here again we are getting the binary data in terms of zeros and ones. But what I want is in terms of plus 1 and minus 1. So I convert it as 2 into S12 hat minus 1. Now y2 after SIC, y2 equalization minus SQRT alpha PT into S12 hat. Here I am subtracting. Okay. Now we can decode the user 2 data. Again, can subtract. Now bit error rate again in the same form we can. Okay, see here I am considering the single user. I am getting the bit error rate at user 1 and user 2 also 0. Okay, here I am considering only one transmitted power. That means at this transmitted power, the user, the bit error rate is 0. If you want to consider, if you want to draw the graph, then you can do like this, where we have to consider the PT. What we are taking, PT is 40. Now I am taking it as 2 into. I am taking the PT value from 2 to 40. I'll take the scale as 5 to 40. Now where we have to insert, we have to take the for loop here. I'll show you that. See here. The same thing, what I did is, I took the power level from 0 to 40. You can observe here, the power level from 0 to 40. Okay, the remaining things are same. Here I took the for loop. I applied the for loop because the length of PT is from 0 to 40. Okay, the remaining things are same. Here instead of PT I am taking PT of U because now the PT is a variable between 0 and 40. So I am taking PT of U. The remaining things are same. You can observe here. The remaining things are same. Only PT I am taking as U. Here bit error rate also will change according to the variation in PT. So the remaining things are same. Here I inserted to see the difference between the performance analysis between OMA and NOMA. I am inserting here. You can see here Y1 OMA. Y1 is for NOMA, simple Y1, that because here S is the superimposed signal. Y1 is equal to H1 star S plus N1. It is user 1 at NOMA. But user N, if we are considering the OMA, what we'll take? Simply S1 we'll take. H1 star S1 plus N1. If we are using OMA, simple case. The equalization also same. See the equalization. The channel coefficient is same, so equalization is also same. Now at user 2 also, see, if you are considering the OMA, then Y2 OMA. Only the difference is S2 here. The remaining things are same. Here we are taking the composite signal, but here individual resource block we are allocating to each user. So we are taking simply S2. The equalization process also same. The remaining things also same. Here I am drawing the, we can see the figure in between NOMA and OMA. Here I am taking the help of semi-log Y. Now I will show you the results. You can observe. Are you able to see this figure?
Figure is not visible, ma'am, right now.
Okay, okay. And I'll now you can see here
Yes, it's visible.
for user NOMA, this is there in the red color. For user OMA, the black color and diamond. This is the for user OMA. Near user NOMA, this is in the blue color. Near user OMA, this is in the black color again. You can see, you can observe from here. We already discussed the bit error rate of OMA. Bit error rate of OMA is less than the NOMA. From this figure you can observe, because more interference we can see, we can observe in NOMA. So bit error rate performance, if you consider OMA is better, the remaining things, that means spectral efficiency, capacity, all these things are better in NOMA. Here I am implementing simple downlink NOMA for the bit error rate performance. Okay, I'll show you one more thing. Uplink also we'll see. I'll show you the uplink also. Wait for a minute. Here in uplink, I considered the same thing. H1 is same, H2 is same. The PT also I am taking from 0 to 40. Things are same. Only the difference is here in downlink. That means at uplink. Uplink at base station, the user 1 data and user 2 data is separated. The same thing here also we apply. I'll share this MATLAB code with your coordinator so that you can make use of it. You can implement uplink and downlink NOMA. See, the red one is, I'll show you the figure again. See, this is the uplink case. Far user, more bit error rate. Near user, less bit error rate. Okay, because near user is at high power level in the uplink NOMA case, and far user is at low power, so we are getting more bit error rate. Okay, just reverse to the downlink NOMA. Okay, this is about the simple implementation. Now we'll go with the next. Okay, simple downlink and uplink. These things I shared with you. This is the uplink. Now we'll see the MATLAB implementation is completed. Now I'll show you the performance analysis between bit rate NOMA and OMA. If you're considering the bit error rate, then OMA is better. If you're considering the capacity, we already discussed that. Each multiple axis technique has its own pros and cons. Okay, this is the bit error rate of NOMA versus OMA for 2 users. Here we are considering only 2 users. This is also the capacity in between NOMA and OMA. NOMA capacity is more, you can observe. Okay, the capacity of NOMA is better. If you are considering 2 users, 3 users or 4 users, anyone, you can observe here. Bit error rate performance wise, OMA is better. Capacity and spectral efficiency wise, NOMA is better. You can see spectral efficiency and energy efficiency. NOMA is better than OMA. This is OMA. This is NOMA. The spectral efficiency and energy efficiency both are more. Okay. Now, NOMA simulator. To continue your work, I'll show you how to go with the NOMA simulator. Just type WENS NOMA in Google. An online simulator is there. It is also works with MATLAB. If you have MATLAB in your desktop, then you can go with this NOMA simulator for practical implementation. See, just type WENS NOMA. WENS NOMA in Google. The first link, wens.re.kr. This link will be opened. Okay, NOMA simulator. Or directly from the website, you can go from here. NOMA simulator. Okay, you can download the NOMA simulator application from here. The tutorial also there. But what you have to do is, after downloading this NOMA simulator, you can directly download. Download permission will be given directly. You can download and you can encrypt that. That is a zip folder. So you can unzip that folder and you can install the NOMA simulator. But you have to take the permission from WENS laboratory. If you are an academician, You can write a letter. You can write an email to this lab@gmail.com. For the academic use, you will get the license to use this NOMA simulator. Okay, it will ask your name, date of birth, email and phone number, okay, and institution name. After that, after downloading this NOMA simulator, you can install and you can use this. You can check these parameters: system level, random user, multi-cell, frequency, different frequency bands. For the different frequency bands, we can implement OMA and NOMA, and we can compare the performance analysis between OMA and NOMA. Here the propagation models used are Okumura and Hata, cost 231, in both in OMA and NOMA. Imperfect SIC, there is no need in OMA. We already discussed in OMA. Separate interference management system is not needed by OMA, because already it is managing itself by taking the individual resource blocks, by giving the individual resource blocks to the individual users. In NOMA, we are taking we have to consider the imperfect SIC also, cell capacity. Okay, the simulator you can download and you can install, you can make use of it if you want to continue your research in NOMA. Okay, that's about the NOMA simulator. You have to take, prior to use the NOMA simulator, you have to take the permission from that Vence laboratory. Okay, now the term cooperative NOMA came into the picture. The cooperative NOMA, the name itself indicating the cooperative NOMA uses the cooperative communication. Here we are bringing the cooperative communication into NOMA. You know that in cooperative communication you have a source and destination, and in between that we'll use a relay. So when transmitter is sending the information, both destination and relay will receive the signal, and generally the relay will do amplification and forward the signal to the destination. Destination will receive two copies of the signal, one from the transmitter and one from the relay. Okay, when we are receiving the two signals, 1 minute. Cooperative NOMA. Now I think, is it visible? Cooperative NOMA. This is cooperative NOMA. Here, one is acting as a source and another one is destination. In between also a relay will act to amplify and forward the signal. Destination will receive the two copies of the signal, one from the transmitter and one from the relay. When we are receiving two signals, we can implement the diversity techniques. Many diversity techniques we have. By using the proper diversity techniques, we can improve the signal to noise ratio. Okay. We know the diversity techniques such as selection diversity or combining techniques like equal gain combining or maximum ratio combining to improve the nearby user. Here user n is the nearby user and the user m is the far user. Okay, base station is sending the signal. If you are considering the downlink, base station is sending the signal, user m is the destination, then user n will act as a relay in between base station and the far user. In this, nearby user acts as a relay and it first decodes the far user data. We already know how to decode the far user data. That means user n, what user n will do is, first it detects the superimposed signal, then it will decode the user m signal, and the user m, that means far user, will get the signal from base station as well as from the near user. Near user now it is acting as a relay. So the user M will detect the from base station as well as from the relay. Okay. In this, nearby user acts as a relay and it first decodes the far user signal and subtracting from the, we know the same process, whatever we implement, we saw in the normal power domain NOMA. Okay. But here at user M, it will decode, it will get the 2 copies of the user M data here. Here we'll get the superimposed signal, and from the user N we are getting the user M signal. From that, by using the proper detection techniques, we can detect the signal at the user M. This is the cooperative NOMA. The advantages we know, already discussed: improved spectral efficiency, ultra high connectivity, fairness, compatibility, and flexibility. Okay, what is the flexibility? We can use the NOMA with the existing TDMA, CDMA, FDMA techniques. Okay. Limitations of NOMA. What is the limitation of NOMA? The SIC, that is successive interference cancellation, we are using at the NOMA. This is the main complexity of NOMA. We already discussed. In NOMA, separate interference management systems are not needed. But in NOMA, we have to use that. Here we are discussing the successive interference cancellation. If the successive interference cancellation system is good, then it is okay. But if you get any error in the error occurs in single user due to successive interference cancellation, decoding of all users is difficult, because from one user only the remaining users are decoding the signal. So perfect SIC should be there. If it is imperfect SIC, then we'll go for another types of NOMA techniques. Okay, that is the main limitation. Now, research areas in NOMA, different variants of NOMA are in now in market. So you can choose any one of NOMA and you can improve the signal to noise ratio by considering the different factors. Okay, new coding and modulation techniques also you can implement. Here I showed you the simple BPSK technique. Instead of BPSK, you can go for the 16 QAM or 64 QAM, depends on your type of environment where you are taking the actual data. Okay. NOMA in HetNets, NOMA in cognitive radio networks, it is very useful. NOMA in cognitive radio networks, it is very useful. Now we are considering the different users, that means different distances from the base station. That means one is far user and one is near user, but the users are at the same distance, the problem arises. Okay, same distance, then same power level will be assigned from the base station. If you are considering the power domain NOMA, then cognitive radio networks will come into the picture, where we can take the QoS as the parameter, quality of service, to differentiate one user to the another user. NOMA in millimeter wave communications also we can use by using massive MIMO, that means MU-MIMO technique. We can mix with the NOMA and we can use for to get the more spectral efficiency. Even though NOMA is getting from NOMA will get the more spectral efficiency, but from using NOMA in millimeter wave communication, by using MU-MIMO, we can get more spectral efficiency. Imperfect CSC and limited channel feedback. So CS is channel state information, imperfect channel state information. Here what we are considering the stationary signals, and the channel state information is known to the users. We are directly taking H1 and H2. What we are considering here is we are considering the channel state information is known to the users. But if the channel state information is imperfect, then how to take the signal at the users, that is important. That means you can look this also, you can take this area also to continue your research. Security provisioning in NOMA, then cross layer optimization, these are the research areas in NOMA. We can consider we can take these references MIMO-NOMA. That means, can we combine massive MIMO with NOMA? Yes, using spatial clustering, we can combine massive MIMO with NOMA. Okay, you can take this reference. Can we do NOMA even if users have similar CSI? Yes, by considering the QoS requirements, by considering the cognitive NOMA. Okay, you can take this as reference. Thank you. If you have any queries, you can ask me now, or you can mail me if you have any. This is my mail ID.
Ma'am, there are certain queries in chat.
Okay, ma'am. Please. I'll see that. NOMA is different from, how NOMA is different from CDMA? Obviously, here in NOMA, what we are taking different domains, different power domains. In CDMA, same power level will give. Okay, but in NOMA, we are giving different power levels. Same code we can use, CDMA technique we can use, same code, but same code to the n number of users. Let us take the code is 001. The same code we can take 001. In CDMA, we are giving this code for a particular user. But in NOMA, that 001 code is given to the n number of users by taking the different power domain levels, power levels, which will be assigned from the base station. Depends upon the distance between the base station and the user. Okay. I think Mr. Abhishek, you got the point. Then, can we change propagation model in NOMA simulator? Yes, only, but the NOMA simulator is defined only for the 3 propagation models, HATA and HATA, Okumura and COS 231. Here we can change these 3 propagation models only. Okay. Any other queries, please? If you want a separate propagation model, you can include separately in MATLAB. But NOMA simulator is only for the 3 models. 3 propagation models are there. Anything else?
There's one more question, ma'am.
Now you can ask me.
Yeah. Rupinder, there's a question from Rupinder also, and Abhishek. Mr. Abhishek has also asked another question. Ma'am, Rupinder is saying, is NOMA used? Can we use NOMA in PON network, which is passive optical network, ma'am?
Yes, we can use. We can use there also. But
And,
here we are. Yes, please.
Yes, ma'am. Continue, ma'am.
Yes, please. I think you have one more doubt.
There is another question. In quasi-degradation phenomena, how NOMA offers better performance as compared to conventional OFDMA technology?
Because in OFDMA technology, I told you now, the bit error rate performance wise, the OFDMA is better. But if you want to consider the more number of users, the spectral efficiency, and we already discussed about the spectral flow is the problem in OFDMA, that will be solved by using the NOMA. Okay, the number of users here, our main requirement, because we are going for the 5G internet of everything, we are at internet of everything stage. So here what our prime requirement is, massive connectivity, so that issue will be solved. The remaining things like bit error rate wise, the OFDMA is better. Yes, we already discussed that the research is going on. research is going on. NOMA is compatible with hybrid networking also. There is a lot of research is going on. Headsets, NOMA with headsets. A lot of research is going on. NOMA is compatible, but the research is going on still. Thank you.
Hello.
Any other queries, please?
Yes, ma'am. Hello, ma'am. I am Pinder.
Okay, ma'am. Tell me.
Ma'am, as you told that NOMA is also used in a PON network. Ma'am, is there any research going on, or how is it possible? Can you little bit explain their architecture or something? We need something special for this. Yeah.
Actually, I'm not getting your exact doubt, madam. Please, can you
Ma'am,
repeat your
like you
question?
told, yes, ma'am. Ma'am, like you told that NOMA is used in a PON technology also. Okay. And is there is specific change required in the phone technology for
Which technology?
amplification?
Can you write in the chat box? I'm not getting
Oh, phone
audio.
मतलब passive optical network technology. Sorry, ma'am.
Yes. Now tell
Ma'am,
me.
is there any specific change required?
Actually, your audio, some disturbance is coming in your audio. That's why I'm telling you. You can post through the chat box, whatever you
Okay,
want.
ma'am. Okay, ma'am. I will answer.
Otherwise, you can mail me. I'll definitely give you the reply. If you have any queries, you can ask me through the chat box because some disturbance is coming in your audio. Any other things, please?
Any other query for the talk of today? Okay, you can email directly to ma'am or to me for any further queries. So I really
I'll share
thank.
the simple MATLAB implementation of uplink and downlink to madam. Madam will share you that simple
Okay,
coding.
I'll pass on to the participants, ma'am. Thank you,
Okay,
ma'am,
ma'am.
for being present here. And I would request Ashi to say a few words for ma'am.
I would like to thank our distinguished speaker, Dr. Purnima Sharma, for her excellent presentation on performance analysis of non-orthogonal multiple access over orthogonal multiple access, and for providing deep insight on NOMA. Thank you, ma'am, for this informative and a practical session. I'm sure all the participants have gained a lot. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ashi.
Thank you
Thank you,
once
madam.
again, ma'am.
Thank you to all the participants for their patience. If you have any queries further, if you want to continue your research in NOMA, you can directly email me if you have any queries. I'll definitely give you a positive reply for your queries. Okay. Thank you once again. Thank you to the coordinators of CCET Chandigarh for this nice FTP. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you once again.
Can I leave now, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
For any
Thank
queries,
you.
I'll mail in case any.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. So now for the announcement with the participants that we will be again meeting 5 minutes before 2 after lunch, after our lunch time, and assistant professor from Department of Electrical Engineering at IIT Delhi would be a speaker at 2 o'clock. So he'll be talking about Li-Fi networks. So I request all of you to join 5 minutes before the session. Thank you all.